What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 4 of the Charge to the Top, here with Hereford, and today I have for you guys a live commentary against Swindon Supermarine in a game which, well, at the start of the season, I probably wouldn't have said is going to have a lot of bearing on us here, but really, Swindon, one of the surprise packages of this league. Of course, ourselves and Salisbury, very much the big dogs, or the big bull, in our case, in this league. You know, we should both be getting out of this division, but Swindon, they are the underdogs of this tale. And, well, they are a bit of a surprise team. They actually finished 4th last year. If you look at their general information, they're predicted to finish 4th again this year. But just how close they've been to ourselves and, well, Salisbury has been a bit of a surprise. As you can see in the top right, we are at the end of December now. We are slightly beyond the halfway point in the season. And as you can see, if you're being observant, looking at the league table, we do find ourselves top of the table, albeit by just the 1 point. And we know that a defeat today would see Swindon leapfrog us to go top of the table, potentially pending the Salisbury result, which I believe they are playing at the same time as us today. So anyway, since the last episode, which was a 3-0 win against Salisbury, our promotional rivals, it's really been a mixed bag. We've played 10 games, we've had 6 wins, 4 defeats, no draws. And yeah, it's kind of been a really odd period of time, if I'm honest. You'll kind of get a feel for that, I feel, as we go through these results. So we'll start off with the first game, which was against Totton, a team who I believe was sick for when we took them on. It was a good little result, 2-0 win. Matty Forster getting a goal out on that left-hand side. He's been a very good player for us, the 18-year-old, getting a fair few goals in fairly important games, and he got 2 more in this game here, as we did run out victors. So that was a nice result to kind of, I guess, start this game out. Anyway, the next game we had was a defeat against Evesham, a 3-1 defeat, in fact, this in the Southern League Cup third round, a tournament which, well, I want to say bizarrely, my board expected us to win. I don't want to kind of, you know, say that we shouldn't be winning the Southern Cup, but bear in mind that we are playing in the kind of Southern kind of second tier, essentially, and there are Southern Premier teams in this tournament. Now, granted, I now look at this and see the likes of Totton and Salisbury still in the tournament and wonder maybe we should have kept going on, but at the same time we were playing a team in the Southern Premier, the league above us. It was a tricky game against Evesham. I think they fairly recently actually won the league that we are currently in. In fact, they didn't. That's a complete lie. But no, they were a good team. The game was fairly 50-50, if we're being honest. We scored within the first minute, which was absolutely fantastic. Jake Sinclair with the goal. But unfortunately, as the game progressed, it kind of became more and more apparent for us, really, that, well, the game was beyond us and they just had a little bit too much quality. Anyway, the next game we had was against Bridgewater, and as you can see, we won 3-1. Good results, fairly convincing. Sinclair with 2, Purdy with a goal from the spot. And yeah, a good little win there to kind of bounce back, I guess, after the initial disappointment of the Southern League Cup defeat. Anyway, the next 3 games, 3 clean sheets, 10 goals. It was a great performance. We won our first game against Tiverton here, 5-0. Jake Sinclair getting a hat-trick. Forster again getting a goal. David Lynch also getting his name on the score sheet. 12 goals for him this season. Has been a very good player for us. And yeah, good to see him getting involved in the goal scoring in this game. Following on from this, as I said, 2 more wins, 2 more clean sheets. We beat Yates, as you can see here, 2-0. Victor Ogbu, the youngster who we signed from Bury, who I talked about last episode, he scored his first ever senior goal, and, well, I have to kind of show it because it was a bit of a banger. So, yeah, sit tight, get the popcorn out, and, yeah, savour this, his first and only goal for the club so far. The youngster, you know, he's come in from Bury for £10,000. There's a little bit of pressure on his shoulders to perhaps perform. We've not given him a ton of opportunities, and I've kind of brought him in to be that kind of backup advance forward. But, yeah, him and Townsend linked up well for this goal, actually, and it was a long-range effort. And, well, pick that out. And what a finish that is. An incredible goal, really. 2-0, the game ended up finishing, but Ogbu with what proved to be a very important goal there. And as you can see, Jayden Hull rounded off the scoring with a late goal in the 86th minute. The next game was against Northley, 3-0 win. Lynch and Sinclair, kind of the strike partner kind of duo with the goals, as well as an own goal. It was a nice result. Nothing too spectacular about this game. It was just one of those games where you just get the win and it's comfortable for large spells of it. And I kind of wish that I could say that there was more of the same coming up. But as you can see by this big streak of red, 3 defeats in a row. The first time in Hereford FC's history 3 league defeats have happened in a row, and it's happened under my leadership. Granted, there's only 1 season preceding this year at the club, so I guess the record was going to happen at some point. But as you can see here, against Maggotsfield, we lost 4-1. We were humiliated. In truth, they were just very clinical. It was a weird game in a lot of ways. We were 3-0 down at half-time. Our goal came in the 87th minute and was merely a consolation. I don't want to say they struck lucky, but they really took the chances that came their way, which, I mean, fair play to them. If you take your chances, you deserve to win. And a similar situation actually here against Poulton, a 2-1 defeat. It was actually a penalty that Lamar Powell scored that actually won them the game. Kane Lewis got his first ever goal for the club, which was nice. The left-back found himself in the opposition penalty area and he dispatched the opportunity that came his way, but it wasn't enough. The next game, the last defeat in this run of 3, a 4-2 defeat against Evesham, of course the team we played to start the season. Mark McGee here with the hat-trick. He actually looks like a fairly good little striker. That 13 finishing very much on show as he bagged 3. And unfortunately for us, without a win in our previous 3 games, we needed to bounce back, and we did so. I could have done a pun there, because we did against Didcot. It's gone now, the moment's passed. I can't slide in a pun now, but yes, we did get a win. It was a good way to cap off these results, really, and just kind of improve slightly. And as you can see here, Forster with a goal, David Lynch with a goal too. We took opportunities that came our way, and again, it was a fairly tight game statistically. You can kind of see that here, but we got the 3 points, and that was the important thing. So anyway, in terms of what's been going on, with the exception of this kind of real mixed bag of results, I have had a team meeting to try and keep morale up. I told the players after that 3rd defeat in a row I wasn't happy. We managed to save a little bit of the morale, which was good, because I feel like when you go on a run of defeats, morale is just the thing that has to kind of stay up. You may notice a few players missing from our squad. We have had a few departures. A lot of these players are actually players who play in real life for Hereford. First of which was Pablo. He was already on his way out last episode. He has now gone to Stourbridge. Disappointing to lose him in some ways, but at the same time he was on a lot of money relative to our squad. Jamie Cuss, one of a few players who were on non-contracts, players who were here when I joined the club. I just moved them down to the under-23s because they were never going to play for us. And as you can see, that we have Chris Parry here. And McGrath too. All players who of a similar mould. Players who complained about lack of first team football, complained they weren't playing. I hadn't signed them, they weren't really my players. They were all on non-contract, so I could just release them because they basically get paid per match that they pay, and there's no contractual obligation for me to pay them on a weekly or even monthly basis. So that happened, and then we also loaned out Zach Stevens, just a youngster, give him a bit of first team football, probably never going to have any long-term future in our club, so we might as well help out St Austell, lending them at his services. Anyway, on the ins, as you can see, 2 signings made. The first guy here, Coultres, a good player, the English youngster, 22 years old, looks like a fairly well-rounded player, can play either wing, which is nice, but as you can see so far, not really set the world alight. He's come in as a bit of backup, really. Well, £120 actually makes him one of the higher earners in the club, but at the same time, just having a player who can play either wing is always useful. And the other player we brought in, a player who I've kind of brought in to solve a problem that we kind of have, which is the centre mid-defend role. So as you can see here, Adrian Clifton coming in, a Montserrat international, and he looks like a fairly good defensive player. Great mentals in terms of his teamwork, great determination's good leadership as well, something that we have had a little bit of a gap of in our side. So he comes in, the 28-year-old, a lot of experience around this level and even slightly above. Even last year you can see he was playing for Havant and Waterlooville. So anyway, in terms of the team, and in terms of that defensive mid addition, in terms of Adrian, the reason I brought him in is simply put that we're struggling in that area. You will notice looking at the team, the starting 11, a little bit different to perhaps what you're used to. Obviously, the 3 defeats in the row really kind of made me think about things a little bit harder. And one thing that I realised was I was kind of desperately trying to play players who started at Hereford when I first joined in the side, and actually it was at a detriment to our team. I kind of look at the likes of Ryan Green. Yes, he's a very good centre-back. Yes, he's a good centre-back, but I kind of like Moulton and Lacey, and they're performing better than him. They've got a 7.36 average rating in the case of Moulton. Lewis Lacey on a 7.34. It's kind of a case of, as much as the sentimental part of me, and I'm sure some of you Hereford fans will agree, you want to see Hereford players playing, I need to make sure I get out of this division, and I've kind of been compromising perhaps playing my best team and the team that I'd like to play in favour of trying to ensure that we do retain a little bit of the Hereford core that I inherited. So anyway, kind of more examples of that, I guess. Purdy on the bench. He's a great player on the bench, Rob Purdy. And to be honest, he'll be a good little defensive midfielder for us. But when you compare him to Adrian Clifton, the two players are just in completely different leagues. And playing in that centre mid-defend role, it's such an important role in our team. And it's been down to Purdy to play it a fair bit. But he's just not quite good enough for what we need, and it's a big role for someone to play, and I feel like Clifton plays it better. You can see here Purdy's average rating is 7.09, not too bad. The other player who's really been fighting for that position has been Jamie Edge, another player who was already at the club when I joined. His average rating, 6.66. He's played a lot of games. I've promised him more first-team football. He isn't going to be getting it. He's probably going to be moving on because, well, if you look at the wages here, you can kind of see the team that I've got selected now is what I consider my best team. You can see, looking at the list of highest earners, a lot of the players who are earning the most money are players who were here when I joined who have since been replaced, and it's kind of got me in a little bit of an awkward situation. Perhaps the exception there is Jake Sinclair, who unfortunately, with 6 months left on his contract, has no interest in re-talking to me, so we're probably going to lose him at the end of the season too. But yeah, players like Ryan Green, he's a great experienced player, but if I just quickly compare him to Moulton here, you can see he is better than Moulton, but Moulton's performing better statistically, so right now I'm choosing to play him over Ryan Green. But also Ryan Green's lack of ability in the air is kind of a concern, and his lack of pace. I feel like with a centre-back, if you're going to have a lack of ability kind of either in the air or with the ball, you know, if you have a lack of ability in the air, you've got to have the pace, and if you don't have the pace, you've got to have the ability in the air. The kind of issue with Ryan Green is he has a bit of neither, and yes, it's great that his finishing and first touch and stuff are all better than Moulton's, but ultimately he's not a great defender for us, and he hasn't been performing outstandingly compared to these kind of alternative options we've got. Lacey, the other exception, again, you can kind of see physically a little bit better in the air too, has some pace about him. In terms of the marking, fairly 50-50, tackling slightly edged by Ryan Green, heading edged by Lewis Lacey. It's a little bit deceptive, I feel like, when you see the long throws, the crossing, and the long shots jolting out as areas that Ryan Green has Lewis Lacey beat. Because really, as centre-back playing as a centre-back on the defensive centre-back role, you just need to be able to defend and maybe win a ball in the air and maybe have a little bit of pace to cover. So anyway, that's kind of an example there, but there are further examples in this team. Obviously, you've got the likes of Simmons, who's kind of dropped out of favour a little bit, although I would like to play him a little bit more, Mike Simmons. Players like, I'm trying to think of some more examples of players who were here when I joined. I guess Ross Staley is another example of a player who we kind of has been here since we came in, but he just really isn't good enough. And well, when you look at our starting 11 and you look at their wages, for the most part, with a few exceptions, it's kind of obvious which players I've brought in and which players were here when we joined. But anyway, I'm kind of happy with this squad. This is the exact team that won the last game 2-0, and I'm going to be putting some faith in them today as we take on Swindon today, that they are going to be able to get a result done for us. Anyway, in terms of other stuff going on at the club, it's worth noting, I guess, that obviously a lot of contracts are coming to the end at the end of this year. You can kind of see here a lot of contracts expiring, but at the same time, we've managed to extend a lot of the kind of players who I think are really important to the first team. As you can see here in what I consider to be our best starting 11, 8 of the 11 players all have contracts now running to the end of next season. So we are kind of preparing for the future, which is good. It's worth noting as well that Sean Searley, is it Surly? Yeah, it's Surly. Shirley, it's Surly. That's a tongue twister, and I didn't even know it. But I am starting to play him a little bit in goal. I've given him a few more opportunities. He is probably better, in truth, than Wakeman. You can kind of see this here. The real thing that puts me off Stewart is the fact he only has 4 aerial reach, and his reflexes aren't amazing. It's a bit of a problem in the goalkeeper position, and it is an area I am looking to improve. Speaking of kind of, I guess, squad and improving and stuff, you can see here that we are currently spending over our wage budget, but financially the club's in a very good situation, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a little bit more money to spend in January. Of course, we are only a few days away from that now, so the January transfer window we might be able to get a few extra players in here and there. I've had a few people ask me, about my scouting assignments and all that jazz. Just to show you here, you can see 3 out of 3 scouts are out on assignments. If I just show you them, for people curious, I've got 1 scout scouting the next opposition. I've got 1 scout who's looking for first team players with a minimum current ability of 3-star and a potential ability minimum of 4.5-star. And they are in the 15 to 25 kind of age range. And then we've also got a scout looking for hotter prospects. A little bit of a lower kind of benchmark, I guess, for the current ability, but I'm looking for 5-star potential. Of course, the star ratings are relative to the team that you are, so take that with a pinch of salt, I guess. But, well, those scout reports are kind of coming fairly good for us. You can see here there's quite a lot of players that I have on my radar who we could potentially sign, a few players who are free agents. And yeah, these are players that my scouts have recommended. There's some good players in here. One player who really sticks out is this guy, Driscoll, who currently plays for Farnborough. He's a really good goalkeeper, actually. He's Australian. If you see here, he used to play for Perth Glory in the A-League, although he never made an appearance for them. I think he could be a pretty good player. He's only 19 years old. I assume he's got dual nationality. He has indeed. Unfortunately, the stumbling block at the moment is the transfer fee, which I can't quite afford. But he's the kind of player who I'm looking at as a potential signing. Looks like he could be really, really good quality. But yeah, as you can see here, the scouts, they're finding players playing in England of the ability that we kind of need to be finding players of. We're not limited for options here. So if we do get a little bit of money, I'm sure there's a few players we can dig out to really add a little bit more quality to our side. In terms of the tactical system, despite the 3 defeats in a row, I'm sticking with what we've got here. I've not changed anything about it. I'm kind of the attitude of that, well, in our last 9 league games, we've won 6. Just 3 defeats in a row. Should you start panicking and making knee-jerk reactions? I don't necessarily think so. So we are going to stick with what we know here. So anyway, let's get into this game against Swindon. Just to quickly look at their side, Ryan Wood, considered their key player. He's an okay centre-back, but he's nothing standout. They really are punching above their weight, in my opinion, Swindon here. You can see they are just 2 points behind us. Salisbury are only 1 point behind us. Of course, all 3 teams have played the same amount of games going into this fixture. And well, off the back of the previous win last episode against Salisbury, I'm hoping that we can get another very convincing win today against Swindon. We are at home for this, so this is good, but away from home we did get defeated by them, so we've got to kind of, I guess, set the record straight today if possible. Anyway, keep an eye out for Clifton in the centre mid position, playing as that defensive midfielder. Of course, the new signing, the new monster at centre mid on defend. He's a very good player in this role. I'm hoping that he's just going to, set the world alight for us. Only really his lack of ability in the air holds him back from being exceptional in this role, but at this level, he's the kind of rock in the midfield that we need, and I'm hoping that we can, as I said, set the record straight, and he can give a particularly good performance in this his home debut. He only played the last game that we won 2-0. He's never played at home before at Edgar Street, so hopefully he can get a good performance, and hopefully 3 points keep us clear at the top of the table, at least from Swindon. But, well, I don't think this game is going to be quite as perhaps easy as the Salisbury game was last time out. I feel like that was an exception rather than the rule. And, well, when you consider our results as of late, 3 defeats in our last 4, we do need a win here. It probably gives you an idea of how far we were ahead. The fact that we are still 1 point clear at the top of the table, despite having lost 3 games in a row. There was a point where we had 7 kind of points gap between ourselves and the team in second, and at that point I was kind of laughing. And if we'd done a live commentary of, say, a match 3 games ago, I can tell you now the overall tone of, well, everything would be completely different. But as things stand, we're a team trying to bounce back, and, well, if we can keep the momentum going here, that would be great. As Sinclair running through Lynch, Forster hits it straight at Johns in goal. That was a really great opportunity, a clear-cut chance falling our way for Forster, the left midfielder, a player who has scored a fair few goals this year. He already has, I think, 5 or 6 to his name in total. And, well, he could have added another one there. Unfortunately, he squandered the opportunity. But he did get 2 assists in the previous live com against Salisbury. So I can't hold it against him kind of too much here. But anyway, looking at the stats, we are the better team. It's showing in terms of possession. It's showing in terms of the chances created, although it would be unfair to rule Swindon completely out. They have had their own opportunities, but with 35 minutes gone, just the one clear-cut chance that fell our way has been shown. But now a set-piece cleared away. Johnson, the right-back, can he get it back into the mixer to Townsend? Now with David Lynch, plays through Sinclair, and Sinclair slots it home. The number 9, the winger cum striker, Jake Sinclair, grabs us a goal, a player who, well, when I came to the club, I thought he'd be playing as a right midfielder for us. He's found a home as the kind of striker for us. And he's added another one to his collection here. Townsend, nice play. Lynch linking up with his strike partner. And it's a really nice finish in the end. First time, tucks it away. And, well, we find ourselves a goal up. We are singing in the rain right now. And, well, the rain continues to pour. It's December in England. What else are you expecting weather-wise? I will say, I have noticed a few games with snow. I don't know if that's just because we're nearer Wales and I don't know where the logic was I was going here with Hereford. I was going to say it snows more in Hereford than where I live in England, which it probably does, but I don't know what being near Wales has to do in terms of significance. If it was near Scotland, it always snows in Scotland in December. That wouldn't be a shocker. Yeah, I don't. Should we just end this here? Let's end this here. I'm not a weatherman. I can assure you. Anyway, we're 1-0 up. Well, maybe I can predict the weather. I'm predicting a storm brewing in the second half and a few more goals in our favour. I mean, I say predicting, it's more hoping. But no, we're in good shape here. We're a goal to the good. Swindon not really showing us anything to be too scared of yet. We've had 2 clear-cut chances, unfortunately, just the 1 goal to our name. But we've got options on the bench. Forster really not had the greatest game. None of our midfield has, in truth. It's very much been that kind of strike partnership of Sinclair and Lynch, which has been carrying us through this game so far. Clifton on a booking as well, the centre mid. I'm going to take him off. I'm going to bring in Rob Purdy. As I said, Rob Purdy, he's actually not performed that badly in the centre mid defender role. He's just attribute-wise nowhere near as good as Clifton, but he's going to come in, the 34-year-old. Hopefully he can give a good performance there. We have got Ogbu on the bench, who I would like to give a run out to. He is the youngster, of course, we signed from Bury for £10,000, which is a lot of money for a team of our size. That's not a tiny fee, so I am expecting something from him. He's only had a handful of appearances, really, and 1 or 2 off the bench too. But, well, we're on the attack again here. Lewis, the left-back. Can he play it forward to Forster? Can he get the ball in the mixer? He can. Would. Should have done better, Lynch. The defending was atrocious. The finish was even worse. And, well, it was blasted point-blank straight at the keeper. Let's make a change here. I'm going to take off Lynch and I'm actually going to bring in Ogbu. So we're going to give him a run out, see what he can do. And, well, he's got about 25 minutes to try and find the back of the net if he can. But really, at this point, the main aim has got to be to just ensure that we come out this game with the win. There's 20 minutes left in this game. They've had just the 1 shot on target. I probably should switch to a more defensive system, but I always feel like if you go more defensive in this kind of game where you're playing on the front foot and trying to dominate the opposition, you kind of just open yourself up and are just asking to be attacked at. Well, we're going to stick with it. Ogbu, lovely through ball. Can Sinclair finish it? He can. That should be game, set and match. It's another goal for Sinclair. Ogbu this time with the assist. It's his 20th goal of the season. And, well, we're not even into 2017 yet. He's only played 23 league games. This is the 24th. To have 20 goals to your name, an incredible tally. He actually nutmegs the goalkeeper, who just kind of looks a bit perplexed and swats the air with the back of his hand. He's not happy about that, the keeper. And, well, I wouldn't be either. But if I was his defence, I'd be even more annoyed because he should have done better there. And he didn't. And, well, Johns, he's got the ball here. He's going to bottle it, the keeper. He's terrible for them. Let's exploit him. Sinclair can be looking for the hat-trick. Ogbu in the middle. He's there. He finds the back of the net, the youngster. Maybe we should be starting him more. It's his 2nd goal of the season. He scored an absolute screamer, which we showed earlier. Not quite to the same calibre, this goal. But, well, Sinclair, I thought he might be greedy here. I thought he might want the assist, but he pulls it back really intelligently. And it's Ogbu who just smashes it in. I mean, it's a great finish. I was going to say it wasn't as good as his last goal. It would have been hard to trump it. But, well, don't knock that finish. That was a very, very nice goal for him. And now, well, an assist and a goal to his name. And I said, going into this game, I didn't think it'd be like the Salisbury game last episode. I didn't think we'd win 3-0. We are going to win 3-0. It could even be 4. We're on the attack again. Ogbu, Forster, back post. Hull's there. It is 4-0. It's easy. Why? Should I just live-com the entire season? Because then maybe I won't bottle every game. We've won again, and it's a 2nd win in a row. It's a great way to bounce back. It's going to be a confidence-building performance. The home fans are loving it. And it was a delightful ball to the back post, and it was just Hull just nodding it in. It was a really simple chance for him to take, in truth. Keeper really can't take any blame for that one. And, well, there was a minute left. There were suspicions, perhaps, that the referee's whistle was going to go at any moment. It didn't. We took the opportunity. It looked like Swindon had already stopped playing, thinking there's only a minute left of the game. It can't get any worse. It did get worse. And, well, for our fans, it's just got a hell of a lot better. Edgar Street get to witness a 4-0 win over Swindon Supermarine. I'm very happy with that performance, boys. That sees us go top of the table. Unfortunately for us, our kind of rivals in Salisbury also won 3-0. So they remain a point behind us, but that kind of gap between ourselves and Swindon in third extended to 5 points. So anyway, that's a very, very good performance to end kind of December in 2016. In terms of when we'll be back, I need to have a look at the fixtures and see what's going on. Of course, January, I don't expect to see us sign too many players unless the board give me a load of money to play with, which they could do, I guess, given the amount of money that is in the bank. You may have noticed, just looking at the graph, we're not earning quite the same amount of money that we were a few months ago, just because, you know, season ticket sales and merchandise for pre-season coming in, it's quite the same level. But no, it might be worth looking in the transfer market, looking at what we can do. Sinclair, the cream of the crop, we've got to praise his performance right here. I don't know if we can actually ask the board for more wage budget. We should check that in just a second. Staley wants to leave. I mean, Jaden Hall's in too good a reform, I'm sorry. There's just not a spot for you at the moment, Ross. Again, it's the kind of player here, a player who was at Hereford when I came to the club, who he wants to play first team football and he just isn't good enough. And he's the kind of player who I'm probably going to have to let go. He's on £100 a week, which is quite big relative to a lot of our kind of players starting regularly for us. But anyway, normally at the start of January / end of December, the board will come to you and maybe reassess your budgets. Usually it happens in Football Manager if you're performing slightly better than they expect and you're on course for a better finish. Of course, this year we are expected to win the league, so I don't necessarily think that we're going to get an item through to mark the start of the month saying that we have a load of new money. We don't. But we can actually ask the board for some new money. So as you can see here, the club is currently spending £3,786 on wages. Our wage budget is significantly lower than that. Can we ask them for more money? We can. Right, can we increase the wage budget? They believe it's sufficient. I can't stress how important this is. Although we wouldn't usually respond well to your Labour point, your passion on the issue isn't going unnoticed, and after considering what you've said, they've decided to grant my request. How kind of them. We now have £4,000 a week wage budget, which is nice. Worth noting, the club have broken their £400,000 overall balance as well, which is nice. So we've got a little bit of money to move in the transfer window now, of just over £200, £247, which we could kind of jiggle around here to give us a bit of transfer budget to maybe sign a player in for a small amount of cash. Can we also ask them for some more monies to buy, maybe? Can we have transfer budget? Is this a bit cheeky? I'm going to ask. They're not willing to do it because of the club's current financial position. I mean, I don't want to... We're one of the richest clubs in, like, non-league football. But, okay, apparently the finances aren't that great, says our accountant. I think he might be pocketing some of it. I noticed here that we can ask to go pro. They're going to just deny that immediately, so I'm not even going to bother asking about that. I could ask about the transfer window revenue percentage. I can't stress how important I believe this to be. They've bought into it. Right, 85% of transfers. Not that I really expect to sell any players, but just having that kind of transfer fee recoup percentage high so that when you sell players, you're getting a majority of their fee that you receive. It's kind of nice to have if we do have to let any players go. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode from me. A really good performance against Swindon, a really good win yet again. 4-0 up. In terms of when we'll be back, we've got that Salisbury game coming up. It's in a few fixtures time again. It's 9 games until that one. But that is going to be a pretty big game for us. We do also have Taunton in 4th. There's actually going to be a few tricky games here. You can see Wimborne in 7th, Winchester in 5th, Taunton in 4th. Larkhall in 6th. I may even do the Larkhall game just to kind of break things up a little bit. As much as I enjoy doing these episodes, and I do enjoy doing them, I feel like we're kind of playing 8 to 10 games between each episode. Not only do you not get a full feel for the squad, but additionally I spend a lot of time rambling about all the results, and the episodes can, get too close to 30 minutes regularly for my liking. I'm sure for some of you that's amazing. I know for others, you don't want to listen to me for 30 minutes every day of your life. You don't have time to. So cutting down the episode kind of length and having more episodes is probably a better route to go down. So we may well be back for that Larkhall game. That is right at the end of the month, so we will have had time to do some transfers. Hopefully I'll see you guys for that one. As always, if you have enjoyed today's episode, please do smash the like button. If you've got any comments with regards to this game, feel free to leave them down in the comments down below. And other than that, thank you so much for watching as always, guys. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.